What's up, Grayson Report? Happy Saturday. How is everyone doing? What is up? Hold on. Carol, Shelly, Tammy, Joanne, Delia Lux, Matthew, Kyle, Lisa Boo, Wendy. How's everyone doing? Wait a few more minutes for people to trickle in. And how is everyone's weekend going? Brandon, how's it going? While we wait for people to trickle in, how's your weekend going? Jen, how's it going? We had some rain. It hasn't rained here in LA yet, but it says it's coming. But down more toward my house, it was raining. Lisa Boo goes, we had freezing rain last night. It said it was going to rain today, but I follow the weather report with a grain of salt. Like, I don't believe it until I see it. And it actually rained. I was like, whoa, that is crazy. It's not raining out in the LA area yet, but Jen's been doing a lot of paperwork. That sounds like fun. Or not fun, but something you got to do, unfortunately. Joanne goes, it's cold and frosty here in Southwest Ontario. Carol reminded me, as always, guys, Skeleduck is somewhere in this background. Doesn't matter what studio I am, I do hide them if I do remember to bring them, and I did remember to bring them. Just remind me by the end of the stream to reveal his location, because I will forget. I've forgotten before. If you are new to the channel, that is what he looks like. He's on my upper left-hand corner, could be your upper right-hand corner. That is what he looks like, and I hide him somewhere in the background. Just remind me by the end of the stream, because I will forget. It happens. Jen goes, yep, doing paperwork for the tribe. Lisa Boo goes, they had Saunders out. It was so slippery on the road. Wow. Wendy goes, cool mornings, nice evenings with a hoodie. Actually, I like this weather. I'm enjoying it. Today was a nice day. Dusty, how's it going? Kyle goes, here on the island, it's always 50% chance of rain. It rather is or it isn't. No, they literally say, oh my God, it's going to rain, especially here. And then it ends up being just like a sprinkle. And I'm like, really? Like literally like a drop. And I'm like, come on, that's not rain. Joanne goes, the city puts salt on the roads here. I can imagine that salt's probably not good for your car. And your car's paint. Emily, how's it going? I don't live in an area where they put salt on the roads because we do not get snow here, but I can imagine salt can cause a lot of issues with your vehicle, especially the underneath. Joanne goes, salt is horrible. Yes, I can imagine, but you have to do it, unfortunately. Shirley, what is up? So while we're waiting for people, Lisa Boo goes, the salt rusts them out. So while we're waiting for people to trickle in, I do have this article out from Bloody Disgusting. I'm sure it's been posted somewhere else too as well. Pinocchio Unstrung, which is part of the Pooniverse, which goes along with, it's not connected to Pooh, Blood, and Honey, but it is part of that universe. They did hire Robert Englund to it. We all know him from Freddy. This is probably going to get a lot of people wanting to watch this. I think I kind of saw a trailer to this. I don't know if it was real, because sometimes you get trailers and you don't know if they're real or not. I was not interested in it. I found because they're also coming out with a Bambi one. I found the Bambi one more interesting than this one. But because Robert England is now on board. It's kind of piquing my interest. If you guys aren't familiar with the Pooniverse, it is like a horror Marvel universe type of thing, but they're doing it as a horror thing. Don't ask me who came up with this idea. I think it's a great idea. The problem is the first one that I did see, which was Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. I know you guys have heard me say this a million times, but I will continue saying it. Was really low budget. It was a great idea, but bad execution, which I'm hoping this one has a little more of a budget. I know the second one did. I have not had a chance to see it. It is on Peacock now. But I'm hoping that these next several films do have a better budget. I'm kind of have very low expectations with these because we have oh, you know what? I haven't seen the one for Pinocchio Unstrung. I saw the one for Peter Pan's Neverland Nightmare. So it's Bambi the Reckoning and Peter Pan's Neverland Nightmare. I did see the trailer to both. Hold on, I did not see this one. I take that back. Peter Pan's Nightmare didn't look like anything special to me. Bambi actually looked more interesting, and I know Bambi's going to be CGI'd, and you know how much I hate CGI, but it looks interesting to me because, come on, it's Bambi in a horror film. The filmmakers behind Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, and its sequel are expanding their Pooniverse with multiple upcoming films, including Bambi the Reckoning and Peter Pan's Neverland Nightmare. But today we're here to talk about Pinocchio Unstrung. I don't know if there is a trailer for that. Variety has shared a first look image from the next movie in the twisted public domain horror universe this morning, while also revealing that Robert Englund has joined the cast. The horror legend is reportedly playing the role of the iconic character Cricket. Additionally, Richard Brake, if you're not familiar with him, he is usually in Rob Zombie's films. He was in the last one, which I think was the last one that Rob Zombie did, was the Monsters, which was on Netflix, and he was in that as well. He was in 3 from Hell. I think he was in some other ones too. Rob Zombie likes to use him. He was also at Mad Monster. Not this past one, but I think the one before that. Will be starring as Puppet Master Geppetto. Rise Frank Waterfield is directing the upcoming Pinocchio horror movie for Jagged Edge Productions, with makeup FX legends Todd Master, who did Child's Play, Underworld Awakening, and Slither, tasked with creating the film's sinister Pinocchio doll. That is going to be freaking bad. It doesn't look like they're using CGI. That's going to be badass. The fully practical puppet, yep, they're not awesome. I'm all for that. Can be glimpsed in the shot up above, which was, again, first shared by Variety this morning. Frank Waterfield tells BD the film will embrace practical effects. Thank goodness, you guys are awesome so far. At every opportunity, ranging from the doll itself to the title card of the film having a budget significantly higher than my last film. Thank goodness, Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey 2. I'm aiming to make this the definitive Pinocchio horror film and my best movie to date. The various films in this twisted childhood universe are all bundled toward Pooniverse Monsters Assemble, which will also feature Pinocchio amongst the deadly gang. Here is kind of a glimpse. I don't know if you guys can see it. Oh yeah, you can. A glimpse of Pinocchio. He kind of looks cool. And as the article stated, this is practical effects and not CGI'd, which I am all for. Emily, thank you for gifting 5 memberships. Welcome Eeyore Blues, Lisette Morales, Clark, Mrs. O, and Sybil to the Wolfpack. Hearts to Emily and all the new Wolfpack members. Thank you, Emily. I appreciate that. So, here's some first clips. That looks like that's Richard Brake. What's his name? Brake? I always thought it was Blake. Like, I really thought it was Richard Blake. No, it's Brake. I thought for a second they made the typo, because sometimes you never know. Pictured here is Richard break. That is just so weird of a last name. With Pinocchio. And here is the awesome movie poster. I'm hyped for this, but then again, it's like a great idea, but it's all in the execution. I'm open to it, so I'm hopefully it did say it had a higher budget, so hopefully it delivers. Guys, what do you think about Vixen? What is up? What do you guys think about um Pinocchio Unstrung with Robert England? I mean, it must be decent if Robert England is going aboard. I don't think he would go be a part of a crappy film, but Wendy goes, anyone so OCD with proper? I am, especially if I'm writing like if you're trying to be professional in an email. I am. Emily goes, yes, I'm looking forward to seeing it. Again, this is probably something you probably don't want to see in the theater. It's something I'm probably going to wait to watch when it comes on one of my streaming services. Usually that's what I kind of do with horror films. It is there are some rare occasions that I do watch a horror film in the theater, but when he goes, I like the concept, but the delivery, exactly. Like that's what I'm afraid of. Like the idea is amazing. I've always liked things. That's why I like creepy dolls. I've always liked things that people think are innocent, but end up being not innocent. And I've always been fascinated that even as a kid. So I'm all for this. I'm all for making Pooh horrific. I'm all for making Bambi the killer. Like, go for it. That is so cool. But it's the execution. Shelly goes, I'd have to see it. Kyle goes, good to not be with a big studio, too many strings, womp womp. True. Emily goes, I always wait for streaming. For sure, because a lot of times when they do show these trailers for horror movies, they do give it away in the trailer. And they give a lot of some of the great scenes away in the trailer. So that's why sometimes it's like, maybe I shouldn't even watch the trailer. But it is what it is. I guess they're trying, maybe that's the only thing that they can attract the consumer with, is with those particular scenes. But those particular scenes happen to be the if it's a slasher, it happens to be the kill scenes. You know what I mean? So it kind of gives it away. Before I get into the story that inspired Jeepers Creepers, yesterday and today was Dia de los Muertos. I wanted to share a little history about Dia de los Muertos. We don't celebrate this. This is more of a Hispanic culture, where they set up ofrendas. They use the marigolds and they leave offerings for their loved ones that have passed, with pictures of them. And I wanted to talk a little bit about the origin. The Day of the Dead, El Dia de los Muertos. I found out about Dia de los Muertos in high school when I was taking Spanish class, and I've always been fascinated with it. I wish in the United States we had something like this, where we honor the dead. I know I've said this before. I feel like we mourn the dead more so than honor them. And I kind of feel like we should honor the dead. They were, I know when my parents had passed away, I had always said, you know what, they would never want me to stop, doing what I do. They would want me to continue doing what I'm doing, not to sit there. And so I've always had that mindset that, yeah, my parents are not here with me physically, but they're always with me. And, so the Day of the Dead, El Dia de los Muertos, is a Mexican holiday where families welcome back the souls of their deceased relatives for a brief reunion that include food, drink, and celebration. I do also know there are some Asian cultures that do this as well, but not not during this time. I think China, it's in the summertime when they celebrate the dead. Um, if I'm not mistaken. A blend of Mesoamerican ritual, European religion, and Spanish culture, the holiday is celebrated each year from October. Oh, this one says October 31st. I know it as November 1st and 2nd. While October 31st is Halloween, November 1st and 2nd is All Souls Day or the Day of the Dead. According to tradition, the gates of heaven are opened at midnight on October 31st, and the spirits of children can rejoin their children or their family, for 24 hours. The spirits of adults can do the same on November 2nd. Oh, I did not know that. I learned something new.
Some people become teachers to make a difference.
Add. The roots of the Day of the Dead, celebrated in contemporary Mexico and among those of Mexican heritage in the United States and around the world, go back some 3,000 years to the ritual honoring the dead in pre-Columbian Mesoamerica. The Aztecs and other Nahua people living in what is now central Mexico held a cyclical view of the universe and saw death as an integral, ever-present part of the life. Upon dying, a person was believed to travel to Chichanam. Oh, I am going to butcher this. I do apologize. I'm going to do my best. Chicanamitlin, the land of the dead. Only after getting through 9 challenging levels, a journey of several years, could the person's soul finally reach Mictlan, the final resting place in Naua. I know I'm probably butchering that as well. I do apologize in advance. Rituals honoring the dead traditionally held in August. Family members provide food, water, and tools to aid the deceased in this difficult journey. This inspired the contemporary Day of the Dead practice, in which people leave food or other offerings on their loved ones' graves or set them out on makeshift altars called ofrendas in their home. Day of the Dead versus All Souls Day. I do notice a lot of the flower vendors are selling the marigolds, and I saw some people buying some today. In ancient Europe, pagan celebrations of the dead also took place in the fall and consisted of bonfires, dancing, and feasting. Some of these customs survive even after the rise of the Roman Catholic Church, which unofficially adopted them into their celebrations of 2 Catholic holidays, All Saints' Day and All Souls' Day, celebrated on the first 2 days of November. In medieval Spain, people would bring wine and pan de animas, spirit bread, animas, to the graves of their loved ones on All Souls Day. They would also cover graves with flowers and light candles to illuminate the dead souls way back to their home on earth. In the 16th century, Spanish conquistadors brought such traditions with them to the New World, along with a darker view of death influenced by the devastation of the bubonic plague. How is Brandon goes, crazy how there are challenges in Aztec hell, just like the 7 circles of hell. Brandon goes, a lot of cigars, bread, and tequila plus dancing. He also says, I have memories of the rituals from my past life, but in all seriousness, it is a celebration for the loved ones no longer here. Emily, happy birthday! Hearts for Emily, guys. It's her birthday. I hope you had an awesome day. How is the Day of the Dead celebrated? El Dia de los Muertos is not, as it's commonly thought, a Mexican version of Halloween, though the 2 holidays do share some traditions, including costumes and parades. On the Day of the Dead, it's believed that the border between the spirit world and the real world dissolves, which they also say that it around Halloween is when the veil between the living and the dead is the thinnest. So it's kind of hand in hand with that. During this brief period, the souls of the dead awaken and return to the living world to feast, drink, dance, and play music with their loved ones. In turn, the living family members treat the deceased as honored guests in their celebrations and leave the deceased favorite foods, and other offerings at grave sites or on the ofrendas built in their home. Ofrendas can be decorated with candles, bright marigolds called cempasúchil, and red, I know I butchered that, and red coxcombs alongside food like stacks of tortillas and fruit. The most prominent symbol related to the Day of the Dead are calacas. Calacas. I have never heard skeletons. I was thinking calaveras, but that's skull. Calacas and calaveras, because I've always taken calavera as skeletons, but that's skull. Calacas, new word. In the early 20th century, the printer and cartoonist Jose Guadalupe Posada incorporated skeletal figures in his art, mocking politicians and commenting on revolutionary politics. His most well-known work, La Calavera Catrina, or Elegant Skull. Katrina is elegant. Features a female skeleton adorned with makeup and dressed in fancy clothes. The 1910 etching was intended as a statement about Mexicans adopting European fashion over their own heritage and tradition. La Calavera Catrina was then adopted as one of the most recognizable Day of the Dead icons, which are super awesome. During contemporary Day of the Dead festivities, people commonly wear skull masks and eat sugar candy molded in the shape of skulls. The Pan de Animas of All Souls Day rituals in Spain, Animas, is reflected in Pan de Muerto, the traditional sweet baked good of Day of the Dead celebration today. I think I've had Pan de Muerto. Other food and drink associated with the holiday but consumed year-round as well include spicy dark chocolate and the corn-based drink called atole. You can wish someone a happy Day of the Dead by saying Feliz Dia de los Muertos. Movies featuring Day of the Dead. Traditionally, the Day of the Dead was celebrated largely in the more rural indigenous areas of Mexico, but starting in the 1980s, it began spreading into the cities. UNESCO reflected growing awareness of the holiday in 2008 when it added Mexico's indigenous festivities dedicated to the dead to its list of intangible cultural heritage of humanity. In recent years, the tradition has developed even more due to its visibility in pop culture and its growing popularity in the United States, where more than 36 million people identify as being of partial or full Mexican ancestry as of 2016. Inspired by the 2015 James Bond movie Spectre, which featured a large Day of the Dead parade, Mexico City held its first ever parade for the holiday in 2016. In 2017, a number of major U.S. cities, including Chicago, Los Angeles, San Antonio, and Fort Lauderdale, held Day of the Dead parades. That November, Disney and Pixar released the blockbuster animated hit Coco. Wonderful film. If you guys haven't checked it and you're into animated films, I'm not a big fan of Disney, but I did like this film, which was a homage to the Mexican tradition in which a young boy is transported to the land of the dead and meets up with his long-lost ancestors. And no, I do not want to sign up. Though the particular customs and scale of Day of the Dead celebrations continue to evolve, the heart of the holiday has remained the same over thousands of years. It's an occasion of remembering and celebrating those who have passed on this world, and while at the same time portraying death in a more positive light as a natural part of the human experience. And like I said earlier, I wish, with that note, I kind of like what it said there. I wish we did this more in the States, where it was more portraying death more positive, like not trying to think of them being gone, but thinking of the good times that we've had with them and knowing that they are with us, though always, just not physically. Wendy goes, we should celebrate our past ones, good, bad, or indifferently. Matthew goes, it made me think of Skeletor. Wendy goes, chanclas, or she said chancletas. But that's a kind of little cool history and origins of Day of the Dead, Dia de los Muertos. Today is, they typically, I guess, according to that article, they celebrate it for 3 days. I was more familiar with them celebrating it on the 1st and 2nd. So today is the last day of their celebrations. So, guys, who have seen or who remembers the movie Jeepers Creepers? It's been a while for me. I do remember it. It has what's his name, Justin Long, in it, I believe. It's been a while since I've seen that movie. A while. I do remember it was creepy. I'm one of the weird ones that don't find horror movies scary. But I don't watch them to get scary. I watch them because I enjoy them. Jennifer Marie, what is up? Emily Goes first one was the best. Matthew goes, the truck is still here in Florida, but goes to conventions. Jennifer Marie goes, the only Jeeper Creepers I know is the Scooby-Doo catchphrase or Jinkies. What was her? Velma? She would go, Jinkies. Shelly goes, I remember seeing it. Brandon goes, I want to fight and I'm scared. Just kidding. So I always find it interesting that some of these horror movies, but then of course we shouldn't expect anything less. Because a lot of the times I'm finding a lot of these horror movies are based on true crimes. I did talk about Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I've talked about Scream. I've talked about movies that inspired people, horror movies that inspired people to kill, which I've never had any inkling to do that. Watching, I've never thought of becoming Jason in real life, but there are people out there that take it 360 for whatever reason. Could be a mental illness, could be something. I do not know because I'm not a psychologist, but I find that fascinating because it's unexplainable. But Jeepers Creepers is no different. This is the disturbing case of Dennis DePue and the murder that inspired the opening of Jeepers Creepers. Dennis DePue is this crazy looking dude. I'm sorry, when I looked at his picture, the first thing I go, oh my God, he looks crazy. Some people don't. Honestly, some people, when you see them, you would never suspect them doing the things that they did. But this guy really, I don't know. It just the creepy factor goes up 100% on my meter with him. It's just he is one weird looking dude. Creepy. He's like one where if I saw him if I went to a small town and I saw him, I would definitely leave the small town that moment. Dennis DePue brutally murdered his wife Marilyn in April of 1990, and when a passing couple saw him trying to hide the body, a terrifying chase ensued. So, oh my God, his wife looks crazy. What is up with this picture? Rest in peace to your wife, but she looks crazy in this picture too. That is a creepy photo. Period. I didn't even look at her. I was looking at him because I was like, who is this dude? Oh my gosh. She's creepy too. Okay, if both of these, rest in peace, Marilyn. You did not deserve what happened to you, but this picture is just strange. On Easter Sunday, April 15th of 1990, Ray and Marie Thornton were on a traditional weekend drive along Snow Prairie Road, a rural highway 12 miles outside Coldwater, Michigan. In their rearview mirror, a Chevrolet van suddenly appeared, driving aggressively before overtaking them. The couple had been playing a game of making slogans from the license plates of passing cars, so when the van sped past, Marie saw the plate beginning GZ and remarked, geez, he's in a hurry. As they approached an abandoned schoolhouse, the Thorntons saw the same van parked. to the side of the building. Then Marie caught a disturbing sight. The driver was holding what appeared to be a bloody sheet and walking toward the rear of the schoolhouse. Marie, although shocked, was not quite sure what she had just witnessed, and as they discussed calling the police, Ray Thornton saw an ominous van approaching again in his rear view. Gaining speed rapidly, the same Chevy van they had just seen at the schoolhouse now early rode their rear bumper for the next 2 miles, inspiring the opening scene of the 2001 horror movie Jeepers Creepers. What Ray and Marie Thornton saw. As the Thornton, just imagine driving by and you see this guy pulling a body out of a van. I don't know, guys. If you saw that, would you stay or would you call the? I mean, obviously, I probably would have called somebody, but I wouldn't have stayed at the scene. No. If I saw that, I'd be like, hell no, I do not want to be anywhere near that dude because he's gonna come after me. As the Thorntons worried what the driver pursuing them would do, they turned off the highway just as the van suddenly pulled to the side of the road. To try and obtain the full license plate for the police, Ray Thornton turned his car around and they approached the green van again. Now, however, the man they had seen driving was now crouched down, changing the rear license plate of the van. The Thorntons could also see the van's open front passenger door, and the inside was soaked in blood. Rushing back to the schoolhouse, the couple found the bloody sheets partially stuffed into an animal hole. As they contacted the Michigan State Police, recounting what they had just witnessed, unbeknownst to them, police were already scouring the area looking for the man and his injured wife. The couple had just encountered 46-year-old Dennis DePue. That guy is Dennis DePue and the murder of his wife. This is Ray Thornton. He is one of the individuals who witnessed the body. DePue's crime. Like, honestly, I would obviously call the police, but I would have booked it out of there. Like, I would try to remember where it was, and then I would book. Rooster, how's it going? Emily, thanks again. Emily, you are awesome. Thanks again for another 5 gifted memberships. Welcome, JMD, Lego Mike, Rican Havoc, Shiny Happy Peeps, Trisha Guardian, to the Wolfpack hearts to Emily. Thanks again, Emily. You're awesome. And welcome all the new Wolfpack members. Do not be shy. We do not bite. You could say hi. Even though we look like we may bite, but we don't. Dennis Henry DePue was born in 1943 in Michigan and remained in his home state as an adult while working as a property assessor. In 1971, he married Marilyn, who became a popular high school counselor in Coldwater. The couple had 3 children, 2 girls and a boy, but DePue's paranoid and controlling ways had emerged, wearing Marilyn down. The sullen and withdrawn DePue isolated himself from the family and frequently accused Marilyn of turning the children against him. Marilyn filed for divorce in 1989, telling her attorney that DePue was trying to control every decision in her life. DePue made no claim on the house following the divorce, but maintained a home office in the garage. One day, Marilyn came home to find DePue sitting on the couch in the living room, despite her having changed all the locks. The couple's divorce was finalized in 1989, and just 5 months later, Marilyn would be dead. DePue became completely unhinged on Easter Sunday, 1990, as he arrived at the family home to pick up 2 of their children. Their youngest daughter, Julie, had refused to go with DePue that day, and as he went inside, he became angry. When their son, Scott, also began stalling. When Marilyn talked to DePue, his anger increased, and he grabbed her, shouting accusations. Grappling with Marilyn, DePue pushed her down the stairs, and as they're horrified, this dude did it in front of the children. What? DePue mercilessly, you guys can, I'm going to highlight it, beat her at the bottom of the stairway, with the children pleading with him to stop. Jennifer, their oldest daughter, ran outside to a neighbor's house to call police. DePue left the house with Marilyn seriously injured, telling the children he was taking her to the hospital, but they never arrived. The police had begun a widespread search for them both. Then the Thornton encounter with DePue's van and the bloody sheet came to light, making Dennis DePue the main target of the police investigation. This guy is sick. How, I don't care how he did it in front of his own children. Like, come on, this guy is sick. A forensics team sealed off the abandoned schoolhouse crime scene, and tire tracks at the school matched DePue's van. The evidence strongly indicated DePue unalived his ex-wife, which was confirmed the next day as a highway worker discovered Marilyn's body pewed once in the back of the head, lying near a deserted road. The road was midway between the schoolhouse and her home, according to an episode of Unsolved Mysteries. By then, Dennis DePue was in the wind, a fugitive wanted for murder. I have not seen this Unsolved Mystery episode, so I'm not sure if any of you have caught it. I haven't watched Unsolved Mysteries in a while. It's been a while. The manhunt for Dennis DePue and his bloody end. Lisa Boo, feel bad for the children. I do too. Like, that guy is sick. How could you do that? How can you do that? I mean, obviously, by looking at the guy's picture, it's obvious. The guy, I mean, he, like I said earlier, most people don't, you would never suspect them of doing something like that. But that guy looked like I don't know, just he was weird looking. But still, yeah. Wendy goes, karma calls it what you may, the bells tolls. Over the next several days and weeks, Dennis DePue sent a series of bizarre rambling letters to friends and family attempting to justify Marilyn's death, 17 in all, postmarked in Virginia, Iowa, and Oklahoma, in which he ranted over her tricks and lies, writing how he had lost his wife, children, and home and was now too old to start over. On the evening of March 20th in 1991, as a Dallas, Texas woman arrived home, she noted her boyfriend's van sitting in the driveway, unusual because he usually kept it inside the garage. Once inside, her boyfriend, Hank Queen, told her he needed to make an emergency trip home. His mother was very ill. Hank kept an interesting eye on the Unsolved Mystery episode playing on the TV, gathering up his clothes and personal items, asking her to make him some sandwiches for the trip. He deliberately wanted to keep her distracted in the kitchen so that she would not see the show, the second half of which featured a man named Dennis DePue wanted for the murder of his ex-wife. As Hank, aka Dennis, said goodbye to her, driving off in his 1984 Chevrolet van, the woman had a suspiciously weird feeling that she would never see him again. DePue took off immediately, fearing one of his girlfriend's friends would recognize him from the popular show and drop the dime on him. He was right, as state and county law enforcement already had the false Texas license plate of DePue's van based on a tip-off from the show. It took DePue 4 frantic hours to drive into Louisiana, then across the Mississippi state border. Louisiana state troopers had spotted DePue's van, and he led them on a 15-mile high-speed chase, refusing to be pulled over, according to the Associated Press. Across the state line, Mississippi authorities lay in wait, alerted by their Louisiana counterparts and the FBI that the driver was wanted for murder. When DePue's van blasted through a roadblock, Warren County, Mississippi sheriff's officer pewed out both rear tires. DePue pewed at officer cars, trying to ram them off the road as his van dragged along before coming to a forcible stop by officers around 4 a.m. That was super early in the morning. As an officer approached his van, DePue was found unalived with the .357 in his left hand and his thumb on the trigger. Although certainly fancified, the chilling events that kicked off the manhunt for Dennis DePue was immortalized in the tense opening sequence of Jeepers Creepers. I am going to have to look at that movie because, like I said earlier, I have not seen that movie in a while, and I do remember it, but I don't remember specifics. Matthew goes, I watched them on Unsolved Mysteries, so I am sure I did, but don't remember. It's on Pluto TV and Google Android TV for free for any of those that want to check it out. Matthew McConaughey was on an Unsolved Mystery reenacting. That must have been an old one, Matthew, if Matthew McConaughey was in one. Like before he got big. But, yeah, so before they could catch him, he knew he did wrong. I guess in some ways, well, I mean, he's going to meet his maker in death, obviously. He's going to face his demons by doing what he did. I mean, some people believe by doing what he did that sends you straight to hell, but some I remember someone also saying like maybe that was the only way out, but to help that person, but in this case, he took the easy way out. I feel like I don't know if that's considered justice. I guess in some ways it is, because in the afterlife he'll meet his doom. If you guys believe in that type of stuff. Shelly, thank you for your super sticker of the cool. I don't know what that is. That looks like a gaming controller. Hearts for Shelly, guys. Thank you, Shelly. I appreciate it. Matthew, Claire, yes, it was an early role for Matthew McConaughey on Unsolved Mysteries, and he's actually he wants people to see it, which is cool. It's probably not that bad. The reenactments on those true crime shows aren't bad at all. It's a good start. I don't find them bad. I watch a lot of reenactments because a lot of the true crime or even the paranormal ones, they do reenactments. And I always find them interesting. So what's up, GMD? How's it going? So I have an article. Is Carol still in the chat? That Carol shared with me last week, and I wasn't able to get the link to share. Or last Thursday, last stream. I'm gonna skip the first one because it is one that I had spoke about in my last stream. It's about the candy man that Brandon had shared. That comes from his home in Texas. About the pixie sticks and how a father laced the pixie sticks with poison, and his son ended up passing away because of it. And he was executed by lethal injection in 1984. Luckily, no one else, because I believe he was going to give it to his daughter too, but she didn't want it. But another guy that's sick. So we'll skip to number 2. The S mistaken for a Halloween decoration. What? In 2005, a 42-year-old woman in Delaware. I'm not going to say it too much because I know what happened to one of my other videos. By hanging herself from a tree across the street from a residential area. Though the body was easily visible to passerbys and passing vehicles, no one called the police for hours. Why? They assumed the woman swaying in the wind was a Halloween decoration. What? I always say though, that is the time of year where you would never know if somebody was, like in this case, or someone was killed or whatnot, because Halloween, they would assume it's a decoration. Shelly goes, I like reenactments. It's nice to see how it all goes down. It is. Because you've got the actual person telling the story, and then they show like reenactments, and sometimes the actors actually do look like the person. And I'm crazy how they find a person that looks like it. The man who showed up at a Halloween party dressed as Freddy Krueger and went on a rampage. A Halloween party in San Antonio, Texas was in full force last year. I wonder when this was written. I think this is kind of old. 2017. So it's a bit of an old article. A Halloween party in San Antonio, Texas was in full force last year when a man dressed as Freddy Krueger showed up uninvited. He opened F on the crowd, pew-pewing 5 people. That is crazy. The son who, what? And left her body in the street. What? These are horrifying stories. Carol, where'd you find these? I probably should have read them before I One night in Long Island just before Halloween of 2014, a decapitated body laid in the street 5 feet away from a severed head. To many passerbys, the horrific sight appeared to be a Halloween prank, but the truth was far more disturbing. 35-year-old Derek Ward had used a what? He used a K to unalive and decapitate his mother, Patricia, then carry the body and head out of their apartment. After leaving the body and head in the street, Ward jumped in front of a commuter train. I thought these were gonna be like nice ghost stories. these are horrific. And these actually happened. The unspeakable explosion at a holiday performance. Carol goes, they look so interesting. They are interesting, but I was thinking, Carol, I wasn't thinking they were this. I was thinking like they were regular like ghost stories because those are the ones I usually find. I wasn't expecting them to be like they're fascinating. Don't get me wrong, Carol. I wasn't expecting them to be like real life horror stories. The unspeakable explosion at a holiday performance. In 1963, many hosers decided to spend Halloween night at the Indiana State Fairgrounds Coliseum watching a holiday on ice skating expedition. Unbeknownst to them, a rusty tank in the concession area began to leak gas. The room, which lacked ventilation, quickly filled with gas. As the skaters performed their grand finale, the gas reached an electric popcorn maker, triggering a huge boom boom. 74 people were unalived and nearly 400 were injured. That is sad. That's like a freak accident. But then, like, I would think they would know, because a lot of places do safety inspections, especially if they have something like a rusty tank. Shouldn't there be someone doing an inspection to prevent that? The Japanese exchange student who knocked on the wrong door. 25 years ago, 16-year-old Japanese exchange student Yoshihiro Hattori dressed up as John Travolta's character from Saturday Night Fever, then headed out to a Halloween party in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Tragically, he was mistakenly dropped off at the wrong house, and the homeowner panicked by the unexpected visitor. I hear this a lot, and it's sad. And pew-pewed and unalived Hattori. The homeowner was later acquitted of any wrongdoings. Hattori's mother, Miko, commented on the 20th anniversary of her son's death. I've been observing American society for the past 20 years. The ongoing situation there has been incomprehensible to Japanese. I want to encourage more ways to adopt gun or pew-pew control. I do hear this a lot, unfortunately, and some of them do involve children. And that's sad. I don't feel, I mean, we all get spooked. This was probably around the time where no one had, 25 years ago, where no one had no cameras. I was going to say, like, nowadays we have cameras so we can kind of scope the place out. But even if I don't feel comfortable with somebody, I don't do that. But I do hear this happening a lot. This is like nothing new. I haven't heard it recently. I think maybe the last time I heard it was maybe a couple years ago. The assailant who wearing the same mask the killers wore in the film Scream. I think I shared this one before. In Scream, killers wearing ghost face masks callously murder the people in their town. Chillingly, on Halloween night of 2013, someone wearing the same ghost face mask pew-pewed and unalived a 19-year-old Anthony Seabury before disappearing into the New York night. No, this is a different one. I've read a few stories about people. There's actually the guy that was inspired to write Scream was based on an actual serial killer. And then there's also ones where teenagers had seen this movie and acted out as well. The Q Beach riot, where thousands of high schoolers fought police throughout Halloween night. Toronto's Key Beach, 30 years before the riot. Pictured here. In 1945, teenagers in Toronto spent Halloween night rioting and building large bonfires that they soaked with gasoline. When police descended upon the scene, The teenagers fought back, throwing rocks and blocking the fire department from putting out the fire. Soon, police arrested 14 of the rioters, but instead of calming things, this led to a mob of thousands of teenagers gathering in protest. The teenagers were only dispersed after being doused with water cannons, and tear gas. The impetus for the uprising is unknown. The man who opened the door to find a trick-or-treater who would unalive him. What? In 1982, 69-year-old Marvin Branlin was getting ready for bed after a night of handing out Halloween candy when there was one more knock at his door. Branlin opened the door to find someone wearing a pillowcase over their head with the holes cut out for eyes. It kind of looks like Jason from Friday the 13th Part 2. The figure said, "Trick or treat, give me your money or I'll pew pew." He then pulled out a pew pew and ordered Branlin into his basement where Branlin kept a safe. Branlin, figuring this was a prank since only family members knew about the safe, grabbed for the pew pew. The person in the pillowcase fired, hitting Branlin in the throat, unaliving him. The killer fled, leaving the pillowcase at the scene. In 2010, the pillowcase was tested for DNA, but there wasn't enough DNA out to make a match, so they never caught this guy. He said only family members knew about the safe, where the safe was, so that's kind of crazy. The haunted hayride employee who, when pretending to hang from the gallows, actually did it by accident. In 1990, Chicago area teenager Brian Jules' job was to give hayride customers a scare by pretending to hang from a gallows. Jewel had pulled off the stunt just fine earlier in the day, but that night something went terribly wrong. When the hayride approached Jewel, who was hanging from the gallows with his feet touching the ground, the tractor driver began to worry. The driver's worries only grew when Jewel failed to deliver his usual speech. According to the prosecutor, there were no signs of foul play. So why would they have something like that where someone is pretending to do that? That is just asking for disaster. That is sad that happened. Heather Salvatore goes, "What's up? I guess the newest thing, the college students stand in the middle of the street for fun." They do that a lot here. They tend to do, I don't know if they're college students, but I know protesters tend to. They'll go on the freeway and block the freeway. Over here, it's usually like the 101 or the 405, but if I'm not mistaken. But that is kind of what I always hear reports on the news for, and I'm like, why? Why the freeway? Of all things, that's kind of dangerous. The boy whose life was forever altered on Halloween because of his stepfather from hell. On Halloween in 1984, a 8-year-old Brian Massey should have been enjoying a night of trick-or-treating with his sisters, Tiffany 11 and Tamara 10. Instead, he was subjected to a real-life horror film when his new stepfather, 26-year-old David Andrews, stabbed his mother to death before chasing his sisters down the hall. What? And unaliving them as well. Andrews then came into Massey's room covered in blood and killed the boy. 2 days later, police found Massey alive after apprehending Andrews, who had tried and failed to unalive himself. Disturbingly, Andrews struck a plea deal in exchange for a reduction of charges. He is eligible to be paroled next month. This article came out in 2017, which the now 41-year-old Massey vehemently opposes. I don't blame him. That is scary. But thank you, Carol, for sharing these crazy, horrific, true life, horrific ghosts. They're not really horrific stories. They're not really ghost stories. It says possible rain in the next few hours. Dusty, she had shared, but I had already talked about the night walkers in Hawaii on a previous stream, so it it sparked me to talk about Hawaiian legends and superstitions. If you guys know me or have been following me for some time, I do love folklore, legends, superstition. I've always been fascinated by those since I was a kid. It's weird that a lot of the ones I do read do involve children, but I think it's because it was put in place to scare children so they would behave. Especially like the story of Krampus. Um, Hawaii isn't just famous for its beaches, and resorts. It's also known as the birthplace of surfing and home to some of the most beautiful national landmarks in the world, including the Kailua volcano and Hawaii Volcanoes National Park and I am going to butcher these. I do apologize. Haleakala, Maui's east side. But there are many things that make Hawaii unique besides gorgeous geography and tropical temperatures, such as its Hawaiian legends and superstitions, from volcanic spirits to lava flows and mysterious fires. Here are 10 Hawaiian legends and superstitions that you need to know. And this article is going to be about 2 years old. The legend of Pele. Pele is the goddess of volcanoes, fire, lightning, and dance in Hawaiian culture. In one legend, Pele was a beautiful woman who fell in love with a mortal man. The problem? He had 3 other wives. Yes, definitely, that is a problem. When she found out about this, Pele became furious and turned her former husband into a dog before leaving the earth forever. Really, she turned him into a dog. You know, we always we had if us women have ever been with a man that treated us like crap, we've never had the power to turn them into a dog, but I'm wondering if women would actually ever do that. But what's so interesting is that in Polynesian cultures, it's believed that when an important person or deity dies, their spirit leaves the body and turns into an animal. Dogs have long been associated with death because they have historically been used as guard animals for burial sites and also by people taking food offerings to loved ones' grave sites. Maybe this isn't so much of a story as it is an explanation for why certain dogs are unlucky. That is a crazy story, especially when it says she turned her former husband into a dog after finding out he had 3 other wives. The legend of Hayaka. Joanne's like, no, turn them into a fly, then swat. I like yours, Joanne. I do. I know. Again, guys, I'm apologizing. I am butchering these. Sometimes I could get the pronunciation, and sometimes I butcher them like hell. The Hayaka is one of the most well-known legends in Hawaii. She is known as a cultural hero who saved her brother's life. In the legend, the Hayaka comes across Pele, the goddess of fire. Pele was so impressed with Hayaka that she asked if she could call her sister. Hayaka agreed and then set out on a quest for her brother Lohiu's heart, which had been cut out by Maui during a battle with Lohiu. Matthew goes, so the first man who made a woman. So the first man who made a woman mad and get put into the doghouse. The legend of Lono. In ancient Hawaii, the good Lono was believed to come from a distant land. He is said to have brought agricultural growth and fertility with him. However, Lono is also known as the bringer of storms and war. The island of Maui is said to be where he first arrived in Hawaii. A legend tells that Lono was told by his father Cain that if he wanted to remain in Hawaii, he would need a temple for his worshippers. 3 days after being told this, there was an enormous storm on the island of Maui, which caused a great deal of destruction over many miles of coastline. The event led Lono's family members to build him a temple so he could stay with them on their home islands. The night marchers, which I had spoke about in a previous stream, but we will talk about them again. They're pretty interesting. The night marchers were ancient Hawaiian warriors who roamed various areas of the island, many of which were once great battlefields. They appear as ghostly apparitions who carry torches and play drums while they chant. These warriors are believed to be internally fated to march the island, seeking their next battle. They are most active at night, but also have been reported to be seen during the day. If you come across the night marchers in a procession, do not interrupt them, never look at them directly, or they will kill you. If seen, remain quiet with your eyes averted and bow as low as possible to the ground. Presents these warriors the respect that they deserve, and they will continue marching on. Many local plant tea leaves around their house to prevent the night watchers from entering their area or the area. The Green Lady of Wahiawa. Did you know Hawaii has its own La Llorona? No way. There once was a woman and her child who would often visit the Wahiawa Botanical Garden. One day, while taking a shortcut through the nearby gulch, the woman became separated from one of her children in the dense growth as the gulch grew darker. Unable to find her child, she passed away of a heart attack. Now she wanders the area, snatching any children she finds playing in the gulch in an attempt to replace her own. She's also said to have been spotted at a nearby elementary school. A monstrous woman with green tinted skin, clothing, and hair covered in moss and seaweed and smelling of plant decay. It almost kind of sounds like she's kind of like poison ivy. But the Green Lady of Wahiawa is similar to La Llorona, except that she doesn't cry for mis hijos. The legend of Hina. In ancient Hawaiian legends, Hina is known as the graceful and beautiful goddess of the moon. Hina was known, or I don't want to say Hina, was known for making some of the finest and softest kapa cloth in Hawaii, and due to its high demand, she grew tired and decided to leave Hawaii. She traveled high in the sky and went onto a rainbow where she met the sun, but found it too hot to live on. She then went onto another rainbow and traveled to the moon, finding it beautiful, and decided to make it her home. Kapu. In ancient Hawaii, there was a strict set of rules called kapu. The kapu system was a way of life in Hawaii that controlled what people could eat, where they could go, and how they were supposed to behave in certain situations. Anyone who broke the rules would be punished or killed by the kapu keeper. Excuse me. One rule of kapu is that you are not allowed to touch someone else's shadow or reflection. This is why it was always customary for Hawaiians to look at the reflection in the water before leaving home or entering a building. Don't whistle at night. Whistling at night is bad luck. The rationale for this superstition is that the whistler will attract a spirit such as the night marchers, which whistling during the day is thought to be a good omen, however. So don't whistle at night if you're ever in Hawaii. Don't cut plants at night. I have never heard of this one. Hawaiian culture is heavily intertwined with the natural environment, which is prominent in its superstition. One such superstition says that if you cut plants at night, you'll attract spirits. Don't bring bananas on a boat. Note to self. There are many superstitions in Hawaii, but one of the most common is that if you bring bananas on a boat, it will result in a deadly storm. Their superstition likely has its roots in the fact that bananas are an important food crop for Hawaiians and they didn't want them to spoil on their voyage. Don't cut your nails at night. One of the most well-known superstitions about nails is that you should never cut your nails at night. This is because the nail clippings can be used as a form of witchcraft. The reasoning behind this belief comes from the fact that nails are so small, they are easy to hide. People who practice sorcery will use human hair, fingernails, or other body parts for their spells. It also brings back about bad luck. Conclusion: Hawaiian is a visual paradise full of legends and tales that make the culture unlike any other. Stories of haunted houses, curses, and other frightening tales can be found all over the island. If you ever find yourself in Hawaii, be sure to abide by a kapu and become familiar with these legends and tales in respect to the Hawaiian people, and even to enhance your visiting experience. Those were pretty cool. I just need to keep in mind not to cut my nails at night or bring a banana on a boat, or cut plants at night. I don't normally cut plants, but I liked those. Those were pretty cool. Matthew goes, get on the boat. The banana boat excluded in Hawaii. Exactly. Lisa Boo, I've never heard of the nail cutting legend. Me, I have not either. Or bananas on the boat, or cutting the plants at night. But I did find them pretty interesting. They're pretty cool. I think I like the story of Pelé the best. I don't know why. Because I don't know, she didn't take crap from anybody, so I like her. Joanne, that's true. That's if you're in Hawaii. Very true. Because these are Hawaiian legends and superstitions. I probably would always take a banana on a boat, but but watch now, when I see a banana on the boat, I'm like, oh my God, we're gonna have a storm. All right, guys. Matthew goes, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, demons cut their nails and they still grow. I guess the nail thing is people can use it against you, maybe, because it says it can be used for witchcraft. So that's the only thing I'm thinking. They can do some spell against you, voodoo, maybe. I don't know. That's the only thing I can think of out of that one. But that could be with any, not just in Hawaii. But with that, guys, I am going to open it up. True, Joanne. What about banana boats? I am going to open it up for questions. I'll give you a few more minutes to look for Skeleduck. Just remind me if I don't reveal his location. But if you guys have any questions, feel free to ask. Has anyone watched anything good? I've just been catching up on my true crime stories. I did get a chance to see Trap. It is on Max if you guys want to brave the, I think it was an hour and 46 minutes. You can. It's probably the weaker of his film. There was no twist like with M. Night Shyamalan films. He does appear in it. That is one of the things he does. But it just, I don't know. It just, yeah, there was too many questions, and I did do a previous stream about it being based on true events as well. If you want to check that out. But I had too many questions because if in real life, if a police organization is conducting something like that, they wouldn't tell anybody that they're conducting something like that. They would probably do it undercover. So that was where my question, and I know a lot of you probably have seen the trailer, so you know what I'm talking about. But if you want to brave it, you can. It is on Max if you do have Max. If you want to, if you're an M. Night Shyamalan fan and you have to see it type of thing. I didn't feel like it wasn't one of those things where, oh my God, I had to turn this off. But at the same time, it wasn't great either. Matthew goes, I haven't seen it in years. I watched Clue last night. Thank you, Joanne, for dropping by. Jennifer Marie goes, yeah, oh my God, I was asking that too, Jennifer Marie. Why I know Josh Hartnett, he's 46 years old, right? I get it. He's trying to still show he's got sex appeal. What? But why did he have to take it? That made no sense. And the only thing I had that I could explain that, Jennifer Marie goes, like, we get it. You still have 4 abs left. The only, and I'm spoiler, guys, if you haven't seen it, like, cover your ears. If you don't care, you could listen. The only thing that I got out of that was he took off his shirt because he didn't want the blood splatter on his shirt because he was going to do something bad to his wife. But she had the upper hand. But yeah. I agree, Jennifer Marie. I don't know why that was put there. I don't know why M. Night Shyamalan would have allowed that to be put in there. But then again, his daughter is the singer in the thing. So it was like pretty much promoting his daughter singing music career. Which I get it. You're gonna have your family member in your movie. You're gonna have your muse. Like, like a girlfriend in her movie. Like, I understand that. But I totally agree with you, Jennifer Marie. Why? In fact, after a certain point of that film, I also felt like it should have ended. Like, just end. Like, she's supposed to be like, again, guys, if you haven't seen Trap, cover your ears if you don't mind spoilers. Again, if she is like Taylor Swift, all right, because that's kind of what they got the idea from, like a Taylor Swift concert. If she is similar to Taylor Swift is not going to drive to your house. She is not going to. I mean, she may try to help someone, but I just felt like there was some things like Taylor Swift wouldn't have done that. Like, why is she going by herself? Taylor Swift would have had, or anybody would have had a bodyguard with them. Like there was too many. I had so many questions. Jennifer Marie goes, I gave it 5 out of 10. It was just mediocre. Yes, I do agree with you, Jennifer Marie. It wasn't bad to the point where I'm like, oh my God, I got to stop watching this. Which I've had movies like that where I've actually stopped watching it and never returned to it. But it's kind of in the middle. Yeah, it's like 50 in the middle. I agree with you, Jennifer Marie, on that one. Heather, whatever. What is up, Tirana? How's it going? But and I know Josh Hartnett, he looks, I mean, I could recognize him, but he has changed from when he was in his 20s, from like his Halloween H2O days, 30 Days and 30 Nights. What other movie was in? He was in so many movies. But still, there is just, I think he did a great job in it, but I just felt like it just was like meh. There is one I still need to see. It is on Netflix. It's about the dating game killer. It's called Man of the Hour. I have not seen that yet, so that is on my list. I'm probably gonna rewatch Jeepers Creepers. I have so many movies on the list. I just haven't had a chance to watch them. I need to do a movie news article just to see what some upcoming movies are. I've gone out of the loop with that recently. Jennifer Marie saw Woman of the Hour and she said it was meh. All right, so I'm gonna have low hopes for it. It was directed, if I'm not mistaken, by Anna Kendrick. If I'm not mistaken. I thought I heard that somewhere, but I may talk about the dating killer in a future stream. But darn, Jennifer Marie, it looked good. Well, I'm gonna have low hopes for it. Matthew goes Hollywood Homicide with Harrison Ford. Thank you, Emily Parkinson. That's right, he was in Pearl Harbor. I loved Pearl Harbor. One of my favorite films. Halloween H2O, Pearl Harbor, Showtime. Oh yeah, Penny Dreadful. He was in some other films too, like those teeny bopper ones that The Faculty. He was in Oppenheimer too. I haven't seen that movie yet. Black Hawk Down, 40 Days and 40 Nights. He was in all those, like, I remember like those teeny bopper movies. Black Dahlia. Sin City. He was in Sin City? Thank you, Matthew. Matthew said Hollywood Homicide. The Virgin S's, which was a great film. I just remember him being in all those, The Faculty. There you go. All those teeny bopper, horror films that came out way back in the early 90s. Or no, not early 90s, like late 90s. Jennifer Marie goes, maybe she's saying it's meh because maybe it's because about the Man of the Hour show that's on Netflix. Maybe because I already knew how it ended. Maybe. I don't know anything about the story. So maybe I might find it more interesting because I never knew there was a dating game killer, but Jennifer Murray goes, I used to think he was so cute, but now it's like put those abs away and just focus on the plot. I agree. I agree. Most notably what I was saying, because I was like, dude, I don't remember him ever looking like that. Like, I didn't even recognize him. That's what I was thinking. I was more, I you're not the only one that thought why he took his shirt off too. But that was way unnecessary and trap. I don't know if he was trying to show off that, like, look, I still got it or what, but yeah, it had nothing to do with the plot or the storyline at all. Jennifer Murray goes, the dating game killer is about Rodney Alcala. Maybe now it sounds more familiar. No. And it's weird because I'm like into all those things and I've never heard of him. That's why I was like, when I saw like, oh, the dating game, I was like, what? It's weird because I'm into like all those. Don't ask me why I am, but I am. I'm into all like those serial killers and yeah, that's weird. Don't ask me why I'm into serial killers, but I am. I find their stories. I don't know. I just like I like the stories, like the true crime stories of it. That's what I mean by that I'm into them, not that I'm going to marry them or something. Oh, hell no. Heather, whatever goes, yes, it's a Mission Impossible. See, I'm not that old thing show. Yes. It's like, I know what you mean. I agree, Lisa Boo. It's fascinating to know what makes them tick and why. Like, I'm kind of fascinated with like the psychological part about it, which they really rarely ever talk about. Sometimes they do. Like, why do they do it? Like, what caused them to do it? Like, what was their childhood and like they seemingly grew up in a great household. Like, why all of a sudden? It's that's what fascinates me. Okay, Emily goes, he was a serial killer that went on the dating game. The girl picked him, but was creeped out, so she didn't go on the date with him. Okay, gotcha. Thank you, Emily. It's weird. I have never heard of him. That is one I have not heard of, but then there's a lot of them that I haven't heard of that I find out about. Heather Salvatore, thank you for your PayPal. And then Heather, whatever, thank you for your PayPal as well. Hearts for the two Heathers. Thank you, ladies. I appreciate it. Tarana goes, same. I wonder why they do it. Emily goes, he was a. Oh, I read yours already, Emily. Sorry. Jennifer Marie goes, the way the movie was, it seemed like Rodney Akala was chill until a woman offended him and then his narcissistic ego took over. Sometimes, though, you can't believe what some of these movies do because they take liberties. So I would rather, I'll watch them because I do find them, not all of them take liberties. Some of them actually do go with the storyline, but a lot of them take liberties because they want to make it more interesting. So I kind of take them with a grain of salt when they do it. But you never know. Maybe that's how he was. Maybe that's how it was. I am not familiar with it, so I don't know. Dusty goes, I remember that story. Something came out about it recently. Lisa Boo goes, the brain is fascinating. It definitely is. It's weird how one person acts like I was watching a true crime. I don't know if I mentioned this, but it was like a family. They had one daughter and two sons. They all great family, but one of the sons ended up unaliving the dad years later. So it's like weird how, I mean, there were signs that he was disturbed in a way, from when he was very little. But I don't think they ever, and they knew that he was kind of dangerous, but they didn't, like they were kind of afraid of him in a way. So, but it's weird how the other two ended up being fine, but this one, so it's crazy. It's unexplainable. It really is, unless you're a psychologist, which I'm not. All right, guys, real quick. Skeleduck is basically right above me. He is on the very top shelf, right where my finger's pointing. Right there. He's kind of hanging out, watching everybody. Right there, right above my head. Well, you kind of, I mean, a little over, but still. Any last minute questions, guys, before I end this stream? Thank you, Lisa Boo. And if you guys have no further questions, I am going to end the stream here. I will see you guys on the next one, which will be Monday at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Jennifer Marie, I don't know if we are. Jennifer Marie's asking, I have AD. I'm like, bird. Jennifer Marie, I'm not sure if we are. Maybe another day, probably not tonight. Thank you, Matthew. Thank you, Shelly. Thank you, Heather, whatever. But again, I will see you guys on the next one, which will be Monday at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Be there, be squared, stay spooky and sweet nightmares, guys, and have a great rest of your weekend. Good night, guys, and thank you.